you have a partner.
Honestly, content until both are deceased is way worse. Because it's not about whether or not or when they'll break up. It's about the misery of the entire relationship. You could really have two people. One that claims they have a lot of money but barely scraping by, and the other that is depending on the other. That doesn't need it, but just doesn't want to go out and would rather take from that other person. Or, as some may say, the one that bites the hand that they are fed when they can fish for themselves. That's the type of person that will roll their eyes most of the time, when in actuality, they really depend on that person. And then you have another who just feels like they are in control, who feels like just because they're the supplier, that means that whatever they say goes. And what you would expect is a breakup is something far worse, because this is a matter of ego and greed. Both will stay in that same exact situation that they put themselves in. Because both want to control, but one is the supplier, the other one is the taker. They are in a far worse position than you could ever imagine. Once you realize they put chains on themselves, plus their partner, and both of them are doing that, realize that they are really keeping themselves trapped. And let's say that the receiver owns something, but the supplier is only constantly supplying. He could have had, or as a matter of fact, the giver actually has what the receiver has, but the giver just keeps on giving to stay in control, while the receiver disrespects the giver. And now you have a situation to the point where the giver, who once had the upper hand, is now in an equal, if not less, position than the receiver. And the receiver is at risk of having to become the giver, into which they have to go out and do the work. Into which, because they don't want to do it, they're going to suffer greatly too. But because both of them don't want to change, that's a constant cycle and loop that they are playing in. Even if their financial situation, their material world change, that giver will think that they are still the giver, when in actuality, they are the receiver in that situation. And the receiver will still think that they are the receiver, not realizing that they have to become the giver in that situation. So how do you get out of that situation? Self-worth. If you are the giver in that situation, realize that if they need you and you feel like you have to control them, learn how to love yourself so that you don't have to feed your ego. Know that you are who you are and you know what you can do. And kill that ego so you can go and be the true you, the truest version of you. And for the receiver, become a giver. And if you don't want to put in the work, don't ever bite the hand that feeds you. Don't ever show contempt. Both of you, do not ever show contempt. Because now what will tend to happen is that the giver in that relationship can now become a receiver, and the receiver can now become a giver. To the point into which this is what I wish for. Both partners don't need each other, but they want each other. And that's truly what matters. When a person and another person get to the point where they don't need lovers to feel love, they just want lovers. So when one person and another person have self-love and realize that they don't need the other to receive love, but they just want each other because of who they are and not what they can gain, that's when that relationship will flourish. That's when you can truly see how two different people can truly get together, and they'll always have that love for each other. Which is how you'll always have that unlikely duo. I gotta get up for this no matter how I look. Like that Nerd and Jock series. You have Nerd with Tiger. Tiger, who's a tomboy tough girl who gets all squeamish and girly around Nerd. You have Jock, who's with a goth called Olga, who dibble dabbles in the dark art. And yet they're all infatuated with one another. Nerd likes Tiger, Tiger likes Nerd. Jock likes Olga, and Olga likes Jock. And it's a situation where both partners just choose each other for who they are and not what they have. I like that. Ashe, peace out, adios.